So quickly, I wanted to talk about my journey back to high protein veganism. And the reason why is because I've successfully lost 35 pounds since October. And how did I lose, which is about, it's almost 9 pounds a month. It's about 8.75 pounds a month, I think. And how did I lose that much weight that quickly? Well, it's because I know what I'm doing. And that was the thing that really got me thinking. I followed the advice. What got me off high protein veganism? See, this is what you have to understand. Whether I was an omnivore, meaning whether I ate everything, or whether I was a lacto-ovo vegetarian, or an ovo vegetarian, or a pescatarian, my health did not change for the worse or for the better, really. But it did change when I went on to a high starch diet. Okay? When I started listening to, say, Dr. McDougall and even Dr. Greger, to an example, the idea that you can eat carbs and carbohydrates don't lead to weight gain and all this other nonsense, and it's not accurate. It's not accurate. And when I do a video on the cross-linking theory of aging, I'll explain the danger of having elevated blood sugar throughout the day, which people don't understand. When you're eating a starch-centered diet, your blood sugar gets elevated. That's why a lot of fruit might not be good for you. When I was, my triglycerides went up from eating apples and stuff like that. And I got thinking, what's wrong with me? I'm not one of these carnivore idiots where I'm going to give up veganism and then go carnivore because I think meat heals, because that's not who I am. I became vegan for ethical reasons. I'm going to stick out the veganism. But there's a right way to do veganism and a wrong way to do veganism. And with my education and fitness and nutrition, I know what to do. There's no excuse for me to be doing the things that I was doing. But I went from 220 to 185 in the matter of about 4 months. So as I said, I know what I'm doing. How did I lose that weight initially? Well, I went on a vegan ketogenic diet. I didn't talk about it very much because it's not a very safe diet. A vegan keto diet, like a regular keto diet, comes with risks because it is so low calorie and so low carbohydrate that it can cause dizziness, fainting, low blood pressure. All sorts of issues can happen from a ketogenic diet. So I didn't talk about that. I just went on the diet and I followed the diet. And I did an extreme version of the diet so that I could lose weight quickly, because I wanted to lose weight quickly. So I did it. Okay, and then I started incorporating more varied foods into my diet and more calories into my diet, and my weight loss kept going, and then it more or less slowed as I went back up to about 2,000 calories a day. So I'm cutting it back down. Now, a calorie is not a calorie is not a calorie, and I'll get into this when I cover the cross-linking theory of aging. But I got to thinking, when I do videos, I'm not doing these videos to be an influencer or to sell anything or anything of that matter. I do these videos just to do these videos. But as a self-professed vegan, now I consider myself to be 100% plant-based. I don't consider myself to be a vegan because I'm not necessarily against animal testing. I'm not necessarily against vaccines. I'm not even, I'm not a vegan. Some vegans take it to a level that's crazy. But what people need to understand, if you're the face of something like that, I went vegan for ethical reasons. I quit eating meat and everything else for ethical reasons. You have to look healthy to do that. And with my knowledge in fitness and nutrition, I had no excuse, because I started asking myself, like I said, initially with the starch solution, I said, this defies logic, so I'm going to experiment with it, see what happens. My opinion about the starch solution is it might be okay for a highly trained athlete. It might be okay. It is not okay for a person with regular activity. And I did the calories before. I was having maybe 9 potatoes a day, because I was trying to do where he said potatoes were excellent muscle building food, and potatoes do have a lot of nutrients, minerals, vitamin C, etc. but I was having about 3 potatoes 3 times a day, which came out to about 900 calories in potatoes and some vegetables with each meal. And I was continuing my supplementation. Thank God I was continuing my supplementation with micronutrients. Because, like Dr. Atkins points out, and like Dr. Volok points out, and like Dr. Pauling points out, and Dr. Hoffer points out, everyone needs to supplement. Now, I want to point out again, I am not a doctor, I'm not a medical practitioner or a dietitian or anything like that, so this is not medical advice. But the problem was I wasn't taking my own advice. I was believing people like Dr. McDougall and things of that nature. And then it got to the point where it caused a little bit of cognitive dissonance, where I'm like, well, maybe I'm just not doing this right, questioning myself about the quality of how well I'm doing his kooky diet. And yeah, I mean, I came to the conclusion, you know, if I'm going to call myself a vegan or 100% plant-based or say I did this for ethical reasons, it makes sense that I do it the right way. And there is a right way. And the right way is, for me, and the right way for everyone, because you don't need separate diets for separate people, but I'm not a doctor, so don't take this as medical advice. The right way is to do a higher protein, lower carbohydrate, about a 1-to-1 ratio with the protein to carbohydrate, and a moderate fat, not a whole ton of fat. And that's where people go wrong, is the fat. The fat is where people go wrong. They use far too much fat. But the thing is, and the starches, when people go starch crazy. And I was thinking to myself, you know, those 90 bananas a day people are crazy. What the hell are their names? I don't even know their names. I'm not heavily influenced by vegan influencers because I'm not. You know, I became vegan for ethical reasons. That was it. But the fact of the matter is, Dr. McDougall is basically selling you a similar thing as the 90 bananas a day, but wrapped in a fake vestment of science, a fake vestment of medicine. It's not legit. It could work for an athlete. Like I said, my biggest problem with that diet was not until I couldn't work out for 3 to 6 hours a day. I was working out for 3 to 6 hours a day, and I was thriving on the starch solution. When I stopped working out and my workouts went down to about 1 hour a day, I started getting fat. And that was on like between 15 and 1800 calories a day. So that's how I know there's a metabolic disadvantage to a starch-centered diet, to a high carbohydrate diet. You know, and my biggest influencers in ways of nutrition have not been vegetarians or vegans. My biggest influencers, although I still applied the principles as a vegan, but my biggest influencers have been people like Dr. Atkins, Adele Davis, well, I guess what's his name? Furman counts, Joel Furman. But the fact of the matter is, the biggest influencers I've had on my nutritional knowledge, besides my education in nutrition, which is also, the education in nutrition is not the best either, because that favors a carbocentric diet. And that's one, carbocentric diets are not healthy. That's the biggest problem. That's the number one thing that people need to understand. It is not healthy to follow a carbocentric diet. You can be healthy and follow a carbocentric diet if you're doing other things, such as exercising daily or happen to have a genetic gift. There are some people that can handle more carbohydrates than the majority of people. That's not the average person. Usually it comes down to activity level. Are you burning up the glucose? And that's the thing, is if you're not burning up enough of the glucose, it will age you. It will cause you to get ill. The higher level due to the high glycemic load, not the glycemic index. This is the thing that people do not grasp. It's not just the glycemic index. It's not just that you have to watch out for table sugar and bagels and things of that nature. All if you're taking in too much carbohydrate, your blood levels of glucose will elevate chronically, sometimes even. But the thing is, fiber also dampens that, so you have a dampening effect with fibers. But there's only so much it can be dampened if you're taking in 300, 400, 500, grams of carbohydrate a day. So the thing is, it's good to moderate one's carbohydrate intake. And I had to get back to that. And I had to get back to the fact that, these kooky carbocentric wackadoodles, whether it's Freely, that's it, Freely the banana chick, or her husband or boyfriend, the guy that drinks soft drink. Soft drink is good for you, that guy. Or Dr. McDougall. Or that Clapper guy. These people are not, they're misrepresenting the science, in my opinion. They're omitting truthful facts about how to eat properly, in my opinion. Things that, and a lot of people like to say that Dr. Atkins, Atkins died by slipping on ice and cracking his head. Okay, that's what killed Dr. Atkins. He did not die because of his diet. He had a congenital heart defect, which is not the same as a heart problem being caused by the diet. Okay, and as I said, just like with Atkins, although Atkins is a far more balanced diet than the McDougall diet. Why is Atkins more balanced? Because the Atkins diet incorporates ample amounts of vegetables and some fruits and even some grains when you get to the end, and which is what you will be following for the rest of your life, is the end of that diet. So you start adding in ample amounts of vegetable matter into the Atkins diet, okay, along with the high protein intake and the moderate, it doesn't have to be super high in fat. That's only in the first 2 weeks with ketosis. First 2 weeks, that's it. That's the only times you're doing the super high fat version of that diet. But people don't read the damn book. Like when I worked with fat people, they'd be like, I can't go to the bathroom when I do Atkins. That's because Atkins is more than bacon and pork rinds. Read the book. Okay, but or just go to the website. Everything is for free on the website. If you go to the Atkins website, it's all for free. You can see what it is. But the Atkins diet is far more balanced than a oil-free or fat-free or super duper carbocentric kooky diet like the starch solution or the banana diet or any of these fruit diets or any of that crap. So that's what people need to understand is when you do veganism, and this is what brought me back to high protein veganism. When you do veganism, you should do it the right way, because if you're not doing it the right way, it reflects on what you're doing. It reflects on the safety and health promoting properties of what you're doing. And that's all for this video. I just thought I'd make it real quick.